So here we are, and now we've hit on branding. A very important topic for any aspiring musician who wants to be considered serious in the industry. And today with us, we have a special guest from ContextAfrica, a friend of mine who I hollered at lastminute.com, but he pulled through. We've got Tepang here, a branding specialist, to take you guys through branding.
My name is Tepang. So I've been in the game for a bit. So just for background, so I started off in digital strategy, just doing strategy as from apps to mobile sites and stuff. And then I moved across to Universal Music, where Universal Music was trying to figure out what happens, what's life after physical CDs. And my role was to figure out non-recording income for the business. Beyond your CD or your song, how else can we make money off the artists? Whether it's to imagery, whether it's to endorsements, influencer deals, all those deals. So I was there when this kind of started. In most cases, when we ask people what a brand is, they normally reference brands, right? Like logo, t-shirt, Nike, Adidas, whatever, right? By definition, a brand is not a logo. A brand is not an identity. A brand is not a product, right? So this definition comes from the master brand man called MOTI, and he speaks about that the brand is not a logo. He says a brand is a person's gut feeling about a product, service, or organization. So it's what people actually feel, right? So I could be a Nike person, and I could even defend Nike and can tell you why Nike is better than Adidas. But the next person, so it's down to how people feel, and people get very passionate about it. So it goes down to the gut feelings, right? In 2020, there was a South African girl. She entered into Miss SSA, and she was one of those top 5 she was going in. People voted for her. And guess what? They picked up something that she said when she was 14 on like social media. She was basically being racist in a way, and that worked against her. So the whole point of the slide is, as long as you have a presence online, you have become a brand. Just because you're online, you have an identity, especially as artists. As long as you have a song out there, that is part of your brand, right? So, Amazon, right? Like Amazon, the big store that we all know about. So when they ask the CEO to define what a brand is, he says your brand is what other people say about you when you're not in the room. I didn't get your name.
Rajveer.
The all next to you?
Mickey.
So Mickey, who is a Rajveer?
He is friendly, kind, sociable, and one of the most helpful and caring people I've ever met.
Because he's in the room, he's saying all those things. So if you were not in the room, would you say the same thing?
Yeah, and he tries to be funny. I think that's
so. That's his brand. He's a guy who's not funny who tries to be funny. That's his brand, right? So what's the difference between the two? Personal brand and personal branding.
A personal brand is more of how people already know you, but personal branding is how you present yourself to people out there.
So a brand is actually, it's 2 parts. You say something and the audience say something. So you have artists who are very good at music and who don't want the limelight. But unfortunately, that's the brand as well. Like Frank Ocean, I've never seen a Frank Ocean interview about it.
Yeah.
He goes like 5 years before releasing anything. And people say, he's not into branding. No, that's his brand. So just want to go through the 6 fundamentals for us to understand as to what makes a brand a brand. So one is that your brand must inspire trust. Because remember, especially in the space that you're in, people are spending their money on your music, on your art, on everything else. So it has to give that off as well. The next thing is your brand must be consistent. And this is my favorite brand and speaks consistency, right? And no matter who you are, no matter what language is written in, Coke is recognizable and it's consistent. A lesson from Coke here is that when customer has multiple conflicting brand experiences, it damages the perception. So when you come across as masculine in one place and found in another place or whatever, it causes confusion. So what we can borrow from Coke here is the consistency. Your brand must be distinct. Like him or not, he's recognized. The dance moves, he is distinct. There's no one like him.
So my name is Tamson Ngamsasa and I'm from Zimbabwe. I'm a music producer and songwriter. So I think what sets me apart, I've always been that type of person who doesn't really like to go down the pathway of what everyone else is doing or what everyone else is liking. I think it also shows up even in the way I dress or the way I style myself. It also shows up in my sound, how I make my beats. I'm always trying to piece together things from different genres and different styles of music.
Next one is your brand must add value. Right? The only thing that doesn't add value is zero. So like, you have to add value to something, right? Like, so that's key. If it doesn't add value, it's waste. That's what Henry Ford said. You know Mr. Miyagi, right? Karate Kid.
Yes.
That's not from the generation.
Yes.
Do we know?
Do you know Karate Kid?
Yeah.
Yeah. But what he said to the Karate Kid, he said, show me your hand around and I will show you your future. But now easily translated, it's like, show me your friends and I will show you your brand. In a music sense, show me your crew and I'll show you your brand. Because that adds to you, right? So the last key thing here is that your brand is a promise, right? So that's one of the definitions of a brand actually, is that a brand is a promise, a good brand is a promise kept. When you buy a pair of sneakers, you don't expect them to break.
My name is Mickey Muchowa and I am from Kenya. So I'm a visual artist and a designer. I'd like to call my brand Curated Chaos because I'm very maximalist in the things I make. I make quite opposite to Chris. I like to put a lot of things together and layer items. But I think what makes it different is nothing is ever put there without a purpose. Every single element that's in there means something. Nothing is in there randomly. And that way, I think that my brand promise is precision and accuracy.
So thanks for the opportunity to MOTI. Thanks to the class. And I think the key takeout for today is that we know exactly now what a personal brand is versus a personal branding, right? So remember, you must always think about, if I'm not in a room, what they're gonna say about me, and know that you are in charge of your narrative. So what you put out is what people are gonna take with. So make sure, be intentional about everything you do. And and the future is, future is what?
Yes.
It's yours. Happiness, no, that's us.